My name is Carol Andrew, and I'm from the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, which is a part of Rutgers University in New Brunswick. This is my contact information, so after today, if you want to get in touch with me, please feel free to call, or better yet, email me, because I am out talking to students like yourselves, and you can reach me at caroland@rutgers.edu. So there you go, sebs.rutgers.edu. I have a few handouts for you here today with some information inside of these bags. And inside of the folder, there are some bifold or trifold brochures. And when you get a chance this afternoon, if you don't mind filling out the brochure, I can get some general information about all of you. And then after today, if you're interested, I can keep you in the loop of what's happening on our campus. So thank you for the interest in our school. And basically what we're going to do today is we're going to go over how the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences fits into Rutgers University. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the options available to you through the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. And we're going to talk, most importantly, about what you need to do to prepare to be a transfer student at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. So you all with me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So for starters, Rutgers University in New Brunswick is the flagship institution for the State University of New Jersey. We are one of the original colonial colleges, and I noticed that it's blacked out. I had a very nice little image there that seems to be missing. I don't know why. But we are one of the original colonial colleges, and Rutgers University in New Brunswick was founded in 1766. So we have a long tradition that we have become a part of. We are considered one of the top 25 public universities. We are one of the most diverse institutions in the United States. And in New Brunswick, we have 17 different degree-granting schools. It's a really large university in New Brunswick. It's the flagship institution. There are over 50,000 undergraduate students at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. So you can see, it's a really big place. I should say there's over 50,000 students in general. That includes PhD students, part-time students, matriculating, non-matriculating. Undergraduates are about 35,000 students. At the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, we are a small school, 3,200 students, that's part of this large research institution. So I want to talk a little bit more about how we fit into Rutgers University as a small school within a large research institution. We have our own faculty of about 450 that are affiliated directly with our school, and 21 majors. And in that trifold brochure I gave you, you'll see the majors listed, and we'll look at a list in a minute. There are 50 options within the majors. Now, often students ask, what does that mean? What is an option? So, for example, if you look at a major like nutritional sciences, you're going to see several different options available within that course of study. And a student who's interested in something like dietetics, anybody here interested in dietetics? If you were to look at that list, you would see under nutritional sciences is the dietetics program, and you could be certified in dietetics. We have 37 SEBS minors and certificate programs, and we also, because we're part of a large institution, have at our fingertips 100 or more second majors and an endless amount of minors that are available to our students. So let me give you an example of what I mean, because this is kind of a big concept and it's a little difficult to perhaps understand what I'm trying to say. So for example, we have an animal science major. You come to our school, you've been here at Bergen for 2 years now, you've earned your associate's degree, you're ready to jump into that animal science program because you've prepared yourself, and you start your coursework. And while you start your coursework with us, you think about the fact that you took some psychology courses at Bergen that you were really interested in. And you're taking your animal science first semester, and you're thinking, I really miss the psychology courses, and I'd like to make a connection, and I see a connection between psychology animals and animal science. I'm interested in how people behave around animals, how animals influence our lives, and I want to see if there's a way I can make a connection with that. But SEBS doesn't have psychology as a program. Now, since we're part of Rutgers University in New Brunswick, the School of Arts and Sciences has a psychology degree program there that our students can take courses within. So you as a student could maybe take a couple of more courses in psychology while you're pursuing your animal science degree. Once you begin that, you might think, you know what, I think I'd like to know some more, and I'd like to pursue a minor in the program. You have the ability to do that because you're part of Rutgers University. And you could even go the next step. As long as you have a major at our school, you can do a double major in one of the other programs. And in this particular case, as an animal science student who's interested in psychology, it wouldn't be unusual to do a double major, animal science at SEBS and psychology here at Rutgers University. So this is unique to our school because there are so many programs that are offered through the various schools in New Brunswick. And I've had students who have pursued dance and music, history, sociology, you name it. Or maybe something they feel is a little more of an overlap. So they perhaps don't need to do some prerequisite courses because they're doing it for their major. For instance, nutritional science, again, and exercise science. You're looking at the same basic sciences as prerequisite to pursue a program like that. So 3,200 students, about 21 majors. We are on our own campus. It's the George H. Cook campus. Has anybody here been on that campus before? You've visited our campus before? You have visited our campus before. We think it's the prettiest campus. It is the campus where the Rutgers Farm is located, and we have our own housing, dormitory and apartment style housing, which I'll talk about more in a few minutes. But it's a close-knit community with a faculty, an advising office, and again, about 3,200 students. So you can really build that small school community feel as a student being part of the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. But because you're part of Rutgers University, you can go beyond our borders and reach out and be a part of what we consider to be a large research institution. Here's a list of the 21 majors that are offered through our school. There are some specialty majors that are only offered at our school, but we do have some overlap with the School of Arts and Sciences. And I'll anticipate a question that I usually get with regards to some of the overlap, and in particular, a very popular major is biological sciences, as you can imagine. Anybody here interested in biological sciences? Okay. So when you fill out your application for Rutgers University, you will be able to apply to up to 3 schools. On your application, you will put down what majors you're interested in, and you're going to see that biological sciences is offered at SEBS, at the School of Arts and Sciences, and in Newark or Camden. So you might want to check all 3 boxes on your application because it's all part of the same fee that you're paying to apply to our school. Now the difference between the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, which we also call SEBS, by the way, SEBS. So if I jump to the acronym, that's why. It's a little shorter to say. But the program in biology or biological sciences that's offered through our school is exactly the same program that you would be taking as a School of Arts and Sciences program if you're in New Brunswick. So the courses that you're taking are going to be with students from both schools and also possibly from some of the other schools, depending on what their programs are and what courses they need to take. You're earning a Rutgers degree no matter what, which is a good thing. And the difference is seamless in the coursework. The only differences that you're going to notice as one of our students is with regard to the size of our school, as I've mentioned several different times. So you're dealing with an office of advisors for general advising, which is located on our campus. We only do serve our own students. So you can get to come see somebody like myself if you want to talk about what's happening with your schoolwork, what we need to do, next steps, what happened with your transfer between schools, maybe we need to look at your evaluation. Then that would be the reason to come and see somebody like me. We have biology advisors who serve both schools and have office time in our office as well as on the other campuses in their offices. So you can see, you're looking at a pretty similar experience. The differences that I can note are with regard to the core curriculum. Number one, the core curriculum is the liberal arts component of your education. It's a little different from one school to the other, but how many of you are earning your associate's degrees while you're here? All of you. That's terrific, and congratulations for that. That allows you, once you transfer in, if you have fulfilled all the requirements as per the New Jersey statewide transfer agreement, which is an agreement between your school and all the community colleges and the four-year institutions in the state of New Jersey, you're going to be waived out of that core curriculum. So that's not going to make much of a difference to you then between the schools. The other difference is with regard to a requirement that the School of Environmental Biological Sciences has, which is called experience-based education. And I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. But briefly, experience-based education is your hands-on experience that you must complete in order to earn a degree from our school. It is not an elective. It's not something that you're doing just to build your resume, but you do need to do it in order to graduate from our school. So we're going to jump ahead to that. There's a lot of different ways that our students complete their experience-based education, and depending on what your major is, the number of credits will vary from program to program. But we have a George H. Cook Scholars Project, which is an opportunity where students work on a master's level type thesis program. They do a poster presentation. They are mentored by a faculty member, and we have had students who have been published as a result of being involved in this project. There's a wide range of research opportunities that are available on our campus and across the New Brunswick campuses. RSD Research is listed here, but even right on our own campus, for example, I mentioned before that we have a working farm on our campus. So maybe you're interested in life science in general. A couple of you said biology. Maybe you're interested in animal science. We have the horses on our campus. And there's a treadmill on campus in the barn where they work our horses, and they do research with regard to heart rate and how nutrition is affecting their well-being. Students learn to catheterize horses. They take blood from the horses. They have a really well-rounded opportunity to pursue this kind of research right there on our campus. You could, in fact, complete on one campus at our school this particular experience-based education component of your degree. But maybe you want to go beyond the borders and, as I mentioned before, be a part of the bigger community. You can go across town to the many labs that are available on Bush campus and on Livingston campus. Perhaps you're interested in cell biology and want to apply to do work there. It really depends on each individual student and what it is that they want to do. Other students want to go beyond the borders of Rutgers University and go out into the community. Maybe you want to work in business. Maybe you want to take a position where you work in a lab at a place like Squibb or Firmenich or Johnson & Johnson. We have opportunities for students all over the state of New Jersey and beyond. I've had students who have done internships that are beyond the borders of New Jersey, going out into Pennsylvania, for instance, at a local zoo that's there, or at the Philadelphia Zoo, I should say, even as far down as Animal Kingdom in Florida, at Disney World, which is an exciting opportunity for a lot of students. Maybe you want to do something that's even broader than that. I mentioned to a student earlier today, there's a program through our international office, which is located right on our campus and has a relationship with Study Abroad, which is Rutgers University level office, which our students can take advantage of as well. But our international office offers a variety of programs, some of which can be utilized towards the experience-based education. And the one I was mentioning to the student out in the lobby when I was talking to students at the table before was a program in France. It was the microbiology of wine and cheese. And they have a chance to go to France, and I've talked about this before to some of you, for 3 weeks in the summer and do research. in microbiology. And there are scholarships that are even available for that particular program. But it's an exciting program that we've been doing for several years. And that's just one of many examples. We have a black tea program in India. We have students who are interested in pre-vet and are going to Belize and doing research. We have a coral reef program. You see the picture of that here. So as you can see, you can go way beyond the borders of Rutgers University, or you can stay close to home, maybe work in a vet office, maybe do research with one of our faculty members right on campus. It's all going to be up to you. And some students, they want to earn money. They need to earn money. And in a position where you can establish a program while you're getting paid and doing your hands-on experience is also an opportunity, which you would arrange through an office called the Student Professional Internship Network. We call it SPIN. The woman who is the assistant director for that program is located in the advising offices where I am in Martin Hall, and she'll help you, along with your faculty members, formalize a program for yourself. Maybe you're coming from Bergen with something that you want to build upon. Maybe you have a job somewhere, but you want to build upon it, and so the staff and the infrastructure is there to do that. You don't know anybody, you've never done anything like this before, that's fine too. Every semester we have a research mixer where our professors come and meet with students, talk about what their research, the research is that they are doing, and students can apply for positions on that level as well. Maybe there's something out there they never heard of. But I always tell students, if you're reading about exciting things happening at Rutgers University and it's something you want to pursue, you see that professor's name on there, reach out to them, email them, go visit them in their lab. You know, there's a program for stink bugs. There's a program for hazelnut research out on the farm. There's programs where they're developing plants that are able to withstand certain temperatures or attacks by certain bugs. I know I went to the basil greenhouse. A couple of your advisors, I think, went with us to visit the basil greenhouses, which smelled fabulous, where they're building, or I should say growing, these hardier plants that can exist and battle whatever is battling them. I'm not a scientist and don't pretend to be, but so much of this is interesting. So if you as a student find one of these things interesting, believe me, you contact that faculty member, they're going to be thrilled to hear that you're interested in it as well, and maybe you could build a program for yourself that way. Questions? Experience-based education. It's unique to our school, and I have some flyers I want to make sure I give some of you if you're interested in the international programs that are really kind of fun to read about. Of course, being part of Rutgers University and being part of SEBS, I mentioned the advising system before. As transfer students, what will happen to you is once you are admitted and you are enrolled, you'll get a letter from me and from our office telling you about our APA days in the summer. These are our advising and planning days. You'll come in the summer and we will start the process of registering for courses. At that particular advising day, what we do is we spend about an hour, different deans from our department talk to you about policies and procedures, and then you break up into small groups with the faculty who are going to be advising you in our majors. And some of you will be in small groups of maybe 20, and some of you may be one-on-one with a faculty member, depending on the program that you're in. So our advising system is unique to the fact that you will have a faculty advisor in addition to somebody like myself. We do expect you to send in your updated transcripts. Students forget to do that, not only for the semester that you're completing now, if you're coming next fall, but also if you take summer classes, and then a transcript once you earn your degree, which usually comes quite a few weeks after you complete classes, and students, again, forget about that. But we want to check for your waiver, so we want to make sure you get that. Other services that are available, as I mentioned before, for all Rutgers University students are, of course, our Rutgers Learning Center, career services, counseling, disability services, Wi-Fi, but along with that, specialized computer labs. And these are things that are available on more than one campus, so depending on where you decide to live or if you're going to commute, you'll be able to take advantage of any services that you need. Anybody in the room thinking about living on campus? A couple of you? Okay, commuting? Several of you? Okay. When you're a student at Rutgers University, whether you reside on campus or you are commuting to campus, you will be assigned a parking lot if you're bringing a car to campus as a residential student. Once you know where your car is as a commuter student, you will be taking a bus to the different campuses just like a residential student if you're taking classes on other campuses. Depending on what your classes are and depending on your prerequisites that you've completed will depend on how much traveling you will or won't be doing. Students do come, let's say for example for plant biology, nutritional science, animal sciences we were talking about before, come to our campus and oftentimes live on our campus or park on our campus and don't go much of anywhere else. That's small school feel. However, let's just say you do want to do that psychology minor, or you do want to take advantage of a theater program or a dance program, or you want to go to the museum. You're going to use the bus system to get around. It is part of your fees and your tuition. It's built in. It's an efficient service that runs every day of the week and runs all day and all evening. 65% of first-year SEBS students do live on the Cook-Douglas campuses. That particular statistic is based on first-year or freshman students. We do have housing, though, for transfer students in the apartments. Traditionally, they've been put in what's called the Starkey apartments. So if you go on our website and look at the housing options, you can take a look at what Starkey looks like. If you do choose to live off campus but close to campus, of course you can take advantage of the bus system as well. And then of course those of you who are commuting from home. I mentioned before you'd be parking in the same place. Dining services is available to all students. Of course you have to pay additionally for dining on campus if you do use the dining halls. And there are several and they're located on the various campuses. We also have in the student centers dining opportunities just like you have here, and of course you can pay as you go if you'd like to. Student centers, recreation centers, and so forth available on the Cook campus as well as the other campuses. There are some differences with recreation from campus to campus and what's offered. On our campus, for instance, we have sand volleyball, we have a hockey rink, we of course have a workout center and a swimming pool. So depending on what you're interested in, for example, if you want to dive, you need to go to a different campus that has a deeper pool and has the diving team and has that opportunity there. But you can work out on our campus, you can recreate on our campus, you can join clubs that are affiliated directly with the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, or you can, again, reach out further and join clubs and organizations that are affiliated with some of the other schools or that just happen to meet on one of the other campuses. So, for example, we have the Seeing Eye Puppy Club. Now, the animal science program is at our school. The Seeing Eye Puppy Club, the home, of course, is at our school. And if you're in the apartments and you do end up raising one of the puppies, you will be able to, if you're in the right assigned apartment, be able to raise a puppy right on campus. So let's say you want to do the Seeing Eye Puppy Club, but you also want to play Ultimate Frisbee. Well, Ultimate Frisbee is over on the Bush campus. So at night when you go for practice, you'd be commuting over to the Bush campus, and that happens to be a club sport, so of course they have buses that take you to the other colleges and universities where you would be competing. So there's opportunities that abound, and I never can share all the different things that happen at the university, and even when I offer, and I certainly am offering it now, to answer questions about clubs and activities, I don't even know every year what new clubs are starting. And they're social and academic, and there's fraternities and sororities, so there's just so many different things to take advantage of. Do I have any questions about student life, student affairs? This is kind of the outside of the classroom experience question.
Is it a long ride to the other campuses?
Good question. It depends, because if you're taking the bus, say that is a local bus, I mean, you know how it is up here in Bergen, the local bus stops often. It's going to take you longer to get somewhere. If you get on one of the express buses that's maybe shooting between one campus and another, it's going to be a lot faster. If you're taking it during rush hour, it's going to slow you down some because we have all the traffic for the New Brunswick area that is battling against the buses. The average amount of time is probably about 20 minutes if you're going across the river to the other campuses, because you know the College Avenue campus, Cook and Douglas are on one side of the river, and Livingston and Bush are on the other side of the river. So depending on where you're going, it's going to add time or take time away from that. We do not allow through the web registration system for classes to be booked back-to-back on 2 different campuses. If it's on the same campus, you can, because you can walk from one building to another within a few minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, depending on where it is. But the web registration system always allows for an hour, just in case. You get out of one class late, you want to be able to make a bus, maybe it's a busy bus, maybe it's a local bus, so you want to make sure you have ample time to get across. But students become very savvy about how to use the bus system and when to get on and off buses. I know, for example, that some students will travel to a class early because they know nobody will be on the bus will get there in 10 or 12 minutes, and they rather be there early and get the seats in the front, because the front rows and the middle aisle are the best places to sit. If you're, thinking about psychology now and how we learn and interact with our professors. But they figure that out, and you will too. The first couple of weeks are pretty hairy, but you do integrate very well. We do have a program, I'll just point to one because I know I've been talking a long time here. It is the Douglas Residential College. The DRC is located on the Cook and Douglas campuses, which those campuses are kind of co-joined. It's a program in leadership for women, and women specifically in the sciences, engineering, math, and technology, although I believe now they're starting to open their doors to liberal arts as well. But I encourage women to consider this program, whether you're a commuter or live on campus. It's a wonderful, even smaller community to build upon. They have their own mentor program. They do a lot of social activities. They have their own lounges and computer areas that you can just go and be a part of that. There's a couple of courses you need to take for women's leadership, because if you're going to become one of their affiliates, we want to make sure that you're going to move ahead along with the other students in the program. And it is a nice way to integrate yourself again into our school and meet other women. And they have their own dormitory if you are interested in living on campus. But you don't have to be in the program. And that's the Douglas Residential College. There are many other living learning communities you can look up online, and if you have questions, please, you can always email me and I'll pass the information on to the right persons. So this is what I consider to be my most important slide that I'm showing today. This is the reason I really come out to the community colleges. All the other information I'm giving you is certainly useful, and I hope you think it's useful to you in terms of deciding whether SEBS is the right place for you. But for transferring, what's most important to me as an advisor is to ensure that you're prepared to come to our school and successfully enroll in our programs and move forward. The worst thing in the world is to have a student show up in my office who's been at our school a couple of weeks in tears because they realize they haven't done their prerequisites while they were at the community college, and it's going to take them a lot of extra time to finish. We really want to avoid that. And you as students, you have to embrace the knowledge of your advisors, of information that you can check online. I'll give you a site in a minute. And this little bit of information I'm sharing for you now. Now, this is generic. It's not for all the majors that everybody is interested in the room, but it's certainly a good place to start. And math is the #1 block that I have found for students who come to our school. Granted, maybe you haven't had any math since you were in high school. The program you're in right now doesn't necessarily require a lot of math, and maybe you even had a choice to take statistics or algebra and pre-calculus, and you chose to take statistics. Statistics is useful in many of our programs and is a requirement in several of our majors. However, it's not the same as taking pre-calculus math. So on this level at the community college, if you have placed into a level of math lower than pre-calculus, at our school it's called elementary algebra and intermediate algebra, get it done while you are here. If you have placed into pre-calculus Good for you, that's terrific, but you get it done while you are here. And the reason I'm telling you that is even if right now you're a liberal arts student, you're studying whatever it might be, history or theater or whatever, but now you're going to want science, you're going to come to our school and you're not going to be able to take biology or chemistry or any upper level science classes because you don't have the math prerequisite. And those are those tiers that I was talking about, those students who come in and realize, oh my God, I haven't done the math. We want you to get the math done here while you can. You can still be admitted to our school in the fall without having completed the math, but you will be required to take a Rutgers math placement test. And again, if you haven't had algebra since sophomore or junior year of high school, there's a very good chance that you're not going to remember it. Some students take algebra in 8th grade now, in 9th grade. So it's been a while, perhaps, since you've practiced your math skills. So you would take the placement test at Rutgers if you haven't completed it here, and you might do very well and it might not be an issue, but if you can get it done here, let's get it done here now. This is while you're at the community college to prepare you to move on and be perhaps a junior at SEBS. Other recommendations are with regard to chemistry, general chemistry or inorganic chemistry is 2 semesters and a lab at our school. These can both be done at Bergen Community College, and I recommend you do so. The organic chemistry one, or I should say the inorganic chemistry one, or the general chemistry one, and the general chemistry 2 are not linked. So you could take part 1 here and finish part 2 here, but I think you'll thank me if you finish it here. While you're here, get it done. Organic chemistry for the majors that require it is a linked course at our school. So in other words, general chemistry 1 and general chemistry, let's back up. Organic chemistry 1 and organic chemistry 2 and the lab must be taken at the same school in order to transfer as an equivalency. Unlike general chemistry, I said you could split it. This you cannot split. So when you come to our school, we don't want you to come with just 1 organic chemistry. We would prefer you came with both. And that way you'll have an equivalency. You don't have to repeat anything, and you don't have to come back here to finish anything. The same holds true for biology. Both semesters must be taken at the same institution, General Bio 1, General Bio 2, and the lab. If you do not take both at the same institution or here at Bergen, you will have to take them both at Rutgers. If you could get this all done here, no matter which program you started at Rutgers, at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, you'd be able to roll into the upper level sciences without a hitch. Questions about prerequisites? Okay. If you're coming from Bergen County Community College, you can transfer a maximum of 60 credits. Has anybody in the room gone to a 4-year institution or another institution prior to coming here? Okay. So you still will only be allowed to max out at 60 credits when you transfer. But we will take courses from your previous school if they are courses that are important to your degree program at SEBS, whether it's core curriculum or whether it's science curriculum. If it's equivalent courses, we're going to take the best courses from as many schools as you have gone to. Not the best grades necessarily even. It's just a grade C or above that you need to transfer. But we will take the best courses for your program. Now you see here it says bachelor's level 90 is the maximum credit. If the last full-time school you attend is a 4-year institution, then we will be taking up to 90 credits. So if there's somebody in the room who, for instance, goes from Bergen to another school and then decides to come to the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, maybe you realized you want a different major, whatever the reason is, then we will take from outside Rutgers University up to 90 credits from your last full-time institution. Pre-college programs, you max out at 60 credits. Advanced placement. Now I know Bergen takes I believe, for some courses, a score of a 3. Now, Rutgers University will only take at any of the schools a 4 or a 5. So if your degree program here included an AP class, but you've earned your associate's degree, it doesn't change your requirements for getting a waiver from the core at Rutgers, but you just won't get credit for that particular course. But it won't hurt you in any way. Now, if you need that course as a prerequisite, say it's biology, for example, and you got a 3, you would not get credit for biology. You would still need to take biology. 4 or 5, no, not a problem, but 3 would be a problem. And we would have to discuss that right up front. You let me know. We'll figure out what next steps are. International Baccalaureate, which is becoming more and more popular now in New Jersey, we take high levels only, 5, 6, or 7. But I don't think that applies to most of the schools around here at this time. Questions about transfer credit, placement?
So the grade of C or better can transfer for any course, even for the science, math and science classes?
Yes, grade C or better, as long as it's not a developmental course. So for example, algebra is considered developmental.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get a course equivalency for it, but it doesn't count towards your degree.
Okay.
But it still has to be a C or above. Okay? Not a C minus, a C or above. I don't know if you have C minuses here, do you? No, some schools do. So I mentioned before that you can check and see how courses transfer between schools. If you haven't done this already, I strongly suggest you go to this website, newjerseytransfer.org. It's the best tool out there for planning. Doesn't matter if you're going to SEBS or anywhere else in New Jersey. I strongly encourage you to use this. This is what we use as advisors in order to help our students transfer between schools. Now I'm going to show you a screen from one of the links on New Jersey Transfer that's called Transfer Programs. You can look at specific courses and see how they transfer here, but you can also look at whole majors. So if you were to put in Bergen Community College transferring to Rutgers School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, which you got to get that right because the Rutgers list on this program is quite long. You could pick any school at Rutgers and not all the courses transferred the same to each school. So make sure it's Rutgers School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. So say you picked a transfer program for environmental sciences. I know here you have not only biology and life sciences, but you even have like a horticulture program, I think, here, correct? Mm-hmm. And is there a landscape program as well? Yeah. So maybe this would interest a student in one of those programs. I don't know. Environmental sciences is what I picked. But what would be helpful for you as a student here is you can look at the course numbers that are affiliated with your school by choosing your school as the sender school. And you can plan accordingly with the courses that you're taking now. Directly into this program, what do I need to take? What is the faculty recommending? And on the bottom, by the way, is the contact of the faculty member who has made these recommendations. So for this program, we're going to look just at major. Let's assume you're earning your associate's degree. So all of this you don't have to worry about because you're completing that here already. The blue is done. But under major course requirements, you can see we have general chemistry, we have organic chemistry, and we have calculus required. So you definitely don't want to come to us and start out in algebra because you'd need elementary algebra, intermediate algebra, pre-calculus 2 semesters. It's 5 semesters before you take calculus. You want to get that done here. Physics, they've suggested you take here, and general biology in the labs. This is such valuable information because even though you might be in a program right now that is built around life sciences or, as I mentioned before, horticulture or something, doesn't mean all these courses are built into your program. So you might want to add them into your program. I would encourage you to consider doing that. By not taking some of these courses, how do I say this? If you don't take all these courses, it doesn't affect your ability to apply or be accepted to our school. Sometimes there's a misconception with that. It just is a way to design your program here to be the most efficient when transferring. Are you following me? Mm-hmm. Okay. So great website. Strongly encourage you to use it. Application process, of course, is all online. February 1st for the fall is the priority due date. October 1st for the spring is the due date. Applications are available after the priority due date. It's just those applications that get in first are going to be looked at first, and they're going to find out first if they got in. All right, so if you have a student that comes and it's July and they think they want to apply, as long as the application is still up, they certainly may still apply. We're looking around a 3.0. We don't need SAT or ACT. If you've done your associates here, you've been here for 2 years. So if you didn't take it in high school, that's okay in that particular case. As I mentioned earlier, pre-calculus is preferred. For the spring semester, it is in as a requirement, as is biology and chemistry and writing. The spring is a much smaller class, so it's more competitive, and because it's mid-year, some courses are out of sequence, so we don't want students coming in and not being able to take anything. So that's why there's so many restrictions for the spring. The fall, a little more wide open, 12 credit minimum. Of course, we're looking at associate's degrees for all of you, so you don't have to worry about that. And it would include your expository writing, because you have to take 2 semesters of writing here in order to get your associates. And hopefully you've listened to me and you're taking your pre-calculus. Questions about entrance requirements? So finally, as I started at the beginning saying, it's a large research institution that the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences is a part of. You can take advantage of everything that that has to offer. But if you really want to hunker down and have that small school experience, you can do that within our culture. But I'm hoping that you're going to take advantage of everything that's available at Rutgers University as well. And finally, I strongly encourage you to come visit our school. Our campus is lovely. We think it's the nicest campus at Rutgers. A very green campus, as I mentioned earlier. And if you come in for a day, you'll see a session similar to this. And then you get to take a walking tour with our students and ask them questions about what it's really like to be a student at SEBS. And I would strongly encourage any student who's looking at any school to visit that school before you make a decision. Because there's nothing like walking on that campus and talking to people to see if you really feel like it's a good fit for you. It's not only just about, do they offer my major? It's also about, how do I fit in? How do I feel about this particular school? So after today, if you want to go to our sebs.rutgers.edu/tours site, you can sign up for a tour, which is just a tour of the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences on the Cook campus. Rutgers Admissions also has a New Brunswick-wide tour, which is also a great opportunity to take advantage of. It gives you more of that bird's eye view of all 5 campuses and the various different schools and opportunities of Rutgers University. So they're both good experiences to have if you're going to become one of our students. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much for listening to me.